and now to settle what remains. Here we go. I was looking for material for a one-man show to perform in the North Carolina Visiting Artist Program, and also for my company, Trio Productions. And my business partner, Stephen Lloyd, also a college buddy of mine, had seen me play Long John Silver at North Carolina Theater for Young People. And he said, why don't you write a one-man show on Robert Louis Stevenson? He was an invalid, and yet he became one of the greatest adventure writers of all time. And that piqued my interest. So I have Steve to thank for that idea. So literally 30 years ago, I spent about 9 months in reference rooms and libraries and reading every book of Stevenson's that I could get my hands on, even volumes of his letters that he wrote to his friends that were saved over the years. And I ended up being able to use about 80 to 90% of his own words in this play. So I feel it and, lends an air of authenticity to it. The video of the original production doesn't exist anymore. And this play was written when there were still floppy disks and dot matrix printers. And so I had to dig through old boxes to find old, tattered, yellowed copies of pages from the script. And it took a while to piece it all back together. And along with being able to do modern research, I was able to add even some new elements to the script. I also was able to add a lot more production value than I was ever able to do before when I was touring on my own, thanks to the backing of the Justice Theater Project and our wonderful creative partners over at St. David's School. And so this production is more elaborate than ever. So, why shadows and why now? Well, when we unfortunately had to cancel all of our shows because of the COVID-19 crisis, we started batting around what can we do to continue our mission and continue to share content with our audiences. So we were batting around things in the public domain, and it occurred to me, well, if we did original material, we'd have the rights to do that. And I remembered about 30 years ago, I wrote this play called Shadows about Robert Louis Stevenson. I said, well, that was a very fun and entertaining show to do, but I'm not so sure, what it has to say today about, today's world. And then it occurred to me, of course, Robert Louis Stevenson had a terrible lung disease, and he used his art to help give himself a full life, and even when he had to sequester himself at home and be away from everyone else. And then so the idea for this project was born. So this is Robert Louis Stevenson's treasure chest of toys that he never traveled anywhere without. He was very well loved by many people, and they would give him gifts and toys and things that were based on the works that he wrote. And he would travel with them, and so it's from here that all the magic and the transformations happen. He was a big fan of toys, of toy theaters. He never really grew up because he was so sickly as a child that he really didn't have a proper childhood. So he lived so much of his mind and his life in his imagination. So Stevenson was a writer, obviously, and he penned some of the most wonderful adventure stories ever written. So it's quite an honor to be able to play someone like that. And a lot of the magic took place right here at a desk just like this. Now, Stevenson did a lot of writing at his desk, but he also did a lot of his writing right here in bed. In fact, a lot of the times, he had to have his arms strapped by his side and whisper to his stepdaughter, and she would dictate his writing for him. He had a terrible lung disease, and if he stood up, moved around too much, or talked too loudly, he was in danger of spitting up blood. Tuberculosis is not a fun disease to have.